Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barroza.
What's up? So I'm taking the role of Barroza here doing the intro because Be Live can't get their shit together and we can't get it to work 1 week to the next. So this is episode 289. Barroza will come on here in a moment. I'm going to either pipe him in through the phone or we're going to see if we can get him on the live broadcast. But it is football game. It's football season. Football's back. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. It was Final Cut weekend. Some trades happened. Some surprising releases occurred. We'll go through as much of it as we can. There's a little bit of baseball left. We'll talk about that. And but it's mostly gonna be football. So this is episode 289, even though it says 288 on the screen. Don't know why that happened. There we go. And I am Greg Bowl. Greg Barroza is going to come on here momentarily. Let's see if we can get him on the stream. You guys could probably hear him. I can't for some god-awful reason. So we're just going to do it this way. Let me go ahead and get him on the phone so he's on the show, and then we're going to get started. So give me just a moment here. Just means there's no soundboard, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Part of a low budget broadcast. As I mentioned, it is football time. Super exciting. Glad to finally be back, able to talk about football again.
Hello.
Greg Barroza.
What's going on?
Not much. Don't know what the fuck's going on with our damn system.
That sucks.
But we're here. And it's football time. And we get to talk football.
Yep.
And that's all that matters, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right, so how you been, bud?
Good. Just working a lot. Spent all day on the computer yesterday doing work, so trying to get caught up.
Nice. Rethinking your fantasy draft strategy, taking LaShawn McCoy. Are you happy with him now?
Not at all. I love it.
Yeah, now that he's with a winning team and not a losing team, should be good,
right? Glad he's not on the Bills.
Right.
I just have to I have to look now at all my bye weeks, so make sure I don't have like 14 buys on the same week.
Yeah, and that's my strategy. Get all the guys at the same bye week. That way you have no confusion of who to sit that week. But yeah, so we'll get into some of the fantasy football stuff at the end of the show. We'll talk
How you
about
doing?
No, I'm good. Just, another day. No hangover after last night, so that's a huge plus.
Yeah, I logged in and spent a couple seconds with you on your Facebook Live video.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was fun.
Yeah, you were doing well.
Yeah, I drink a little. We're all right though.
Was that at your house?
Do I have a pool?
I don't know. I didn't.
You didn't stay on the video when I jumped in the pool doing a live video then.
No, I left after the beer pong game.
Oh, we weren't playing beer pong though. We were playing flip cup. Anyways though, it was a good time. So yeah, we're good to go.
Okay.
Before we get into football, there are a few other things we want to talk about. One, we have to give credit where credit is due to Mr. Farhan Zaidi. We questioned a lot of his antics and moves and signings and trades and whatever else throughout the entire offseason and early on in the season as well. In regards to what he was doing for the Giants, when we kind of overlooked the fact that his ultimate goal and what he did with the Dodgers and what he did with the A's is building up the farm system through big league deals. And that has paid off. The Sacramento River Cats, for the first time in a long time, no, you did not miss high school football coverage, Oscar. For the first time in a long time, Sacramento River Cats are actually headed back to the postseason. They are the Pacific Division PCL champions. They clinched on Saturday night with a Jalen Davis. No, Jalen Davis walked it off the following night, but they clinched in Sacramento. They will host either El Paso or Las Vegas, so either the Padres or the Athletics, on Wednesday and Thursday night here in Sacramento. So the first time in a long time we have playoff baseball here. So credit to Farhan Zaidi for his work. Credit to Dave Brundage and the Rivercats staff getting these guys playing above and beyond. It should be a fun time out at Rayleigh Field, or soon to be Sutter Health Field.
That's going to be hard to figure out.
It's still AT&T Park to me.
Still Pac Bell Park.
It's still Arco Arena. Fuck it. So if you're going to be out there, I will be out there Thursday evening. Hopefully some of you folks can get out there as well and root on the Cats. That should be a good time. The Giants, that playoff run, that miraculous turnaround seems to be dead. They're like 5 games out of the wild card. They're not out of it, but they're out of it.
They're out of it.
Good news is Johnny Cueto was back with Sacramento. He was pitching extremely well. It looks like he's actually going to get called back up to the big league club to finish out the year. Pablo
Do you think that's the right strategy?
I don't think it matters. I think you throw him out there.
You risk him getting hurt?
He's not going to get hurt.
Why don't you just shut him down for the rest of the season?
Because I think you have to evaluate what he looks like against big league talent to see if he's going to be in the fold. Next year, I mean, he could be tradable. He could be a victim of a cut. You want to make sure that he still has what he has. And I think it falls under the same category of what I was about to talk about with Bruce Bochy. I think Bochy wants some of his guys to be able to finish him out one more year or one more time. Right. On that note, Pablo Sandoval next week is having Tommy John surgery. And I don't know if it happened last night or not, but there was talks of it happening in this series against San Diego. That
I watched the game last night. I didn't see it.
So Pablo Sandoval, he's having Tommy John on his right arm. So if he bats, I believe it's right-handed, then there's no pain when he bats, even with the elbow injury. And there's a lot of talk that he's going to be available to pinch hit one more time for Bruce Bochy before Bochy retires, which I think is kind of a cool thing.
I do too.
So we'll see how that goes. Oscar says, I will not be at Sutter Health Stadium. And now that the Midgets are out of the playoffs, do you wish they had traded Madison for younger talent? I'll let you answer that one, Greg. Now that their Giants are out of the playoffs, out of a playoff run, do you wish they had traded Mad Bum for younger talent?
I don't. I didn't want to trade him in the first place because I just don't think you trade an ace like that and you'll never ever get value for value ever. So I was fine with them not. Maybe they can re-sign him at a little bit of a discount because I know he wants to stay here. And then you got, look at Sacramento. They have some talent down there. So, I think you're setting yourself up, and to have that ace as your number one starter, I don't think is a bad thing.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. If they would have been blown away by an offer and they turned it down, then yeah, I would have been upset. But the fact that nobody offered anything for him, essentially, that would have made any sense to trade him, I'm fine with it. And TJ, you hit the nail on the head. They already traded for younger talent without losing Bumgarner. Right. So I love TJ's profile picture. It's a little doodle of himself. So there's that. There's also a lot of talk that the Giants, they're essentially still in buy mode. The money that they were willing to throw out at Bryce Harper is still on the table for next season. There's already lots of reports that internally the Giants have discussed, and a lot of teams feel that the Giants and the Astros are going to be the two teams that throw money at Garrett Cole, which I think if you can land Cole, that allows Cueto to come back, Samardzija to come back, and possibly even Bumgarner to come back on a lighter deal, just because it solidifies a pitching staff.
God, what a pitching staff that would be.
Oh, that would be absolutely amazing. Plus, you have the young kid Webb, and you have a bunch of other, young talent coming through. And we would never have to worry about like Tyler Beatty or anyone else jumping in the starting lineup, which I think would be, or rotation, which I think would be fantastic. So,
or Derek Rodriguez,
or Rodriguez or whoever else. So I'm not mad they didn't trade him. Like I said, if there would have been an offer if he would have pulled a Vlade Divac and said, "Oh yeah, well we had a better offer 2 days ago and we traded him anyways," then I would have been pissed. Right. But the fact that they didn't get any value for him or any offers that were of value for him, then I'm okay with it. So no problem there at all for me. As much as I hate to say it, since Oscar's online, his Dodgers are still, I believe, one of the front runners in the NL to make a big push. But I'm curious with Dodger fans because it seems like they're losing their patience. They've already lost it the last 2 years, getting there and then losing in the World Series. But I have a feeling that, and what I've read online and different things, that the Dodger, it's not World Series, or it's World Series championship or bust. There's no more anything. And, it's not like, oh, well, we made it and we tried. We had a good run. We just got beat. No. It's like you either win it this year or it's like mass exodus of the fans down there. And I've read a lot on some message boards and Facebook pages and whatnot that there's a consensus through a lot of Dodger fans that if they don't win it, they want Kershaw gone, they want a few other players gone, and they want to bring in new talent that might be able to get them over the hump. There's also already been talks of, if we don't win it this year, Dave Roberts' head is on a stick. Like, they're done with Dave Roberts. So it's one of those things where it's almost like, okay, you know what? I'm rooting for the Dodgers to get back to the World Series
and lose,
only to lose to either the Yankees, the Astros, or insert team here. Right. So it'll be interesting for sure. Dodgers won't advance due to lack of bullpen. It's World Series champs or bust. Exactly what Oscar just said. And I think that is the problem with. I don't care about NL West title. Get rid of Jansen. Yeah, Dodger fans are fed up. I mean, they've had a good run, and it to me right now, what the Dodgers are going through is kind of like what us as Kings fans went through in the glory years, right?
Right.
One of the best teams in the league, most exciting teams to watch, can figuratively pull wins out of the jaws of defeat multiple times. I mean, shit, the Dodgers won 9 games in a row at home on a walk-off. Like, that team just doesn't die, but they don't do anything to address the concern. And,
right,
their problem has been bullpen the last 3 years, and they didn't do shit at the deadline to get a bullpen. So it's one of those things where it's like they're almost becoming complacent, right? Oh, we'll be there. We'll make it to the World Series. We'll make it to the World. Okay, cool, but now win it for me. So it'll be fun to watch. It's almost like getting to watch that implosion. I'm always down for that.
Oh yeah, it's like watching a train wreck.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, the A's are still making a very strong run. On Facebook, we've gotten a lot of criticism from followers and folks that are active on our page that we don't provide enough A's coverage. We brought in Addison Moore. He covers the Giants and River Cats. James has been covering the Giants farm even lower than Sacramento. He's been doing a great job with all the AA, AAA, or AA, single A, and all that other coverage. And A's fans are like, well, where's our coverage? And I said, hey, it's coming. We'll get to it. But so I'm gonna put this out there again. A's fans, if you have someone, or if you're an A's fan and you want to contribute to sportstalk916.com or to our Facebook page and provide updates of what your team is doing, reach out to us. Sportstalk916 at Gmail, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Find us and reach out to us. We are more than happy to have you come aboard and provide coverage for your team. So don't get mad at us that there's no coverage. Get mad at your fellow fans. Yeah, TJ says all 19 of them are upset. you know, if if something needs to be covered, send it to us. You don't need to be a contributor. Like you don't even need to have full access. Like if there's something that should be covered, just send me an article or send me a tidbit about it and I'll put it up for you guys. I have nothing against the A's. Greg has nothing against the A's. Just, we can't, it's hard to provide strong coverage for a team that we don't follow.
Well, and we're busy watching the Giants. I mean, I'm not gonna turn a Giants game off to watch an A's game. And I have nothing against A's fans. I think they don't know how to present valid arguments sometimes.
Right.
When you're talking about how Giants are leaving the bandwagon and in droves, but yet they're still outdrawing the A's by 50%.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. But no, I think the A's are a good organization. I think they're fun, but to me, it's like they're the Yankees or they're the Phillies or they're
just an outside
they're
source.
Just another team, and I don't follow them. I don't. Heck, in the Babe Ruth series, I didn't know half the guys that were playing.
Well, to be fair,
like 3.
Yeah, their infield, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. I do want, because Barnbaum just mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up right now because it's pretty fucking impressive. So, Mikey, this is for you. Sac State yesterday set a record, school record. Oh, yeah. 77 points last night in their home opener against Southern Oregon.
Yep.
Let's see. This is the press release from Sac State. Sacramento State football team scored a record 77 points, found the end zone 11 times, and completed nearly 700 yards on offense to cruise to a 77-19 win over Southern Oregon Saturday night at Hornet Stadium. The points were the most scored by Sacramento State in school history, breaking the record of 76 against San Francisco in 1968. The Hornets scored 21 in the first quarter, a school record, 28 in the second, 14 in the third, 14 in the fourth, and route to the total. Sac State rushed for 345 yards and 7 touchdowns with 10 players receiving carries. A pair of Hornet quarterbacks combined 17 and 23 passes for 340 yards and 4 additional touchdowns. Defensively, Sacramento State intercepted 4 passes and limited Southern Oregon to 48 rushing yards in the game. Despite all the offensive accolades, the Hornets found themselves in an early hole as Oregon State or Southern Oregon drove 75 yards in 11 plays to take a 7-0 lead on the opening drive of the game. Let's see here. Troy Taylor, head coach, former Folsom High coach. It was great to see our guys respond in all 3 phases of the game. We know there are a lot of areas to improve. Overall, it was a great evening with a great crowd, great environment, and I had a lot of fun. It's pretty bad when you drop 77 and only give up 12 more points over the course of every play after the opening drive. And your coach is like, we need to get better. We need to get better.
Well, he helped build that Folsom High dynasty. And
yeah.
While coaching Division I football is different than coaching high school, I mean, he knows how to build a team.
And they're doing a good job. So definitely something to look into. I one of these days I need to look into us getting our press credentials back out there and go cover a game because it is fun. Yeah. Maybe we could get out there and cover. I think the Causeway is at Elk Grove. Is that Elk Grove? It's in Elk Grove this year. Is at Davis this year. So we'll maybe looking to get into that game. But yeah, Oscar definitely stingers up. So that's good news there. Barnbaum, you would be a good guy. Back to the A's. If you come up with the most ridiculous tidbits of information ever. I mean, a guy stubs his toe and you know the last time a guy stubbed his toe. I mean, so if you, Mike, want to write things up and send it to me in a message in a post format like you do, I have zero problem putting that all over Sports Talk 916 when it comes to the A's, especially as they're making a playoff run. Mike, you could be producer and, A's insider.
Keep it under 1,000 words.
Yeah, keep it under 1,500 words or whatever it is the limit is. Speaking of that, Mikey, are you coming to Buffalo Wild Wings tonight for our annual draft? Let us know. Cal Bears 1-0 beating UC Davis. Oh, well, that's a nice little game. Causeway is at Davis this year, so maybe we'll reach out to the Aggies and see if we can't get coverage out there for that.
That works.
Oh, let's do football. football, I can't even play the music because I have to have you on the phone. So, dun 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 dun. No, I'm not going to do that the whole time. But let's start with football. So, Niners and Raiders made a bunch of cuts. There were some surprising cuts. There were some expected ones. The Raiders. No, since we're still talking baseball, I guess. Per Giants Twitter, the following players have been recalled from Sacramento: Aramis Garcia, Connor Menez, Chris Shaw, Birch Smith, and Pablo Sandoval got reinstated from the 10-day injured list. Chris Shaw was like, hey, we need to clinch the division tonight. Okay, let me just hit 3 bombs and have 7 RBIs. Let's see here.
I bet you after the playoffs are over, they bring a couple more guys up too.
Oh yeah, they will. But I also don't want to see them. I don't want to see them completely drop everybody and deplete Sacramento's roster for the playoff run either. So
that's what I just said. Maybe after the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, this right here, this alone, those moves right there are enough to kind of make you wonder about how deep they're going to be. But definitely see how it goes. The Raiders. Let's start with the Raiders. We talked about surprising cuts. There's something wrong. There's absolutely something wrong with John Gruden.
Oh yeah, he's 100 million things wrong with him.
Yeah, so he has a hard on for Nathan Peterman. Which you know what, I'll give him credit. Peterman did not look bad this offseason. Peterman looked like an entirely different quarterback in the preseason.
And hey, a little breaking news. I don't know if you just saw this. According to Keith Jogan,
I was just looking at this. I was about to talk about it. This kind of falls under my Gruden's an idiot. You could go to break it. I don't have the breaking news, but go ahead.
Well, the Raiders just picked up DeShone Kizer.
Yeah, they cut Keelan Doss, who was a good rookie quarterback in the preseason. He looked solid. Would have been a very good guy to have as a third stringer practice squatter. Cut him and bring in DeShone Kizer, who couldn't even back up Aaron Rodgers. So how about that? Oscar wants to know what national day it is today. TJ says American Chess Day.
It's National No Rhyme Nor Reason Day.
No, that's stupid. Well, yeah, you know what? That's actually perfect because I have no rhyme or reason to my practices for fantasy football. Barnbaum, the TJ says it's also American Chess Day. Barnbaum says the Causeway Classic is November 23rd in Sacramento. Whoever said it was in Davis this year is not a reliable source. Always visit hornetsports.com for the latest in Hornet football and all your Sacramento State athletic sports needs. Teams. Sorry.
It cracks me up. He talks like a commercial on KHTK when all he does.
And he talks in Twitter when he's verbally talking. That's what I love about Barnbaum. Yeah. Barnbaum, you did not answer my question, though. Are you coming to the draft? Josh Zimmerman, shady to KC. We'll get to that one here in a second. Nathan Peterman will be the starter by week 6. I have a thought on that. And Oscar, I want your opinion on this since you're a Raider fan. I am a firm believer. So there was a lot of talk about, is it Josh Jacobs? Is that their running back?
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs. We talked about this at our draft on Friday night with TJ's league. One of the guys in the league, the number 1 overall pick who took Patrick Mahomes first overall, which was interesting. He also took Josh Jacobs super early. And he says, no, he's going to be the feature back. He's going to be the feature back. I wanted Josh Jacobs too in like the 6th, 7th round if I could have got him. Not in the 2nd round or 3rd round that he went. But no. I have a sneaking suspicion, and I would like to get everyone else's opinion on this, that John Gruden, since he didn't draft Derek Carr, wants to find a way to get rid of Derek Carr. And he's been pumping up Nathan Peterman so much. Peterman's been his guy. He did the same thing with Rich Gannon. Gannon was his guy, and he worked Gannon in early and got him to become great. And, nothing wrong with what he did 15 years ago. But I have a feeling that you're going to get a heavy, heavy, heavy dose of Derek Carr early on in the season with a not so heavy offensive line that's going to be able to protect him.
Yep.
To the point where I think Derek Carr gets beat into the ground and they have no choice but to switch over to Nathan Peterman so that Gruden can be like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. It reminds me a lot of what Jim Harbaugh did with Colin Kaepernick over Alex Smith. They have their mindset on a guy and they'll do whatever they can to get their guy in the game without straight benching him. Because you can't just bench Derek Carr.
No.
But if you put him on an island and he gets murdered and you don't utilize a running game and you don't beef up your offensive line, because some of their cuts this week were extremely questionable when it came to the offensive linemen that they cut, I have a feeling that you're going to see Derek Carr get murdered this year so that he can switch to a different quarterback. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? That's, like I said, that's just my gut feeling. It feels like the John Gruden way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think part of me wants to think he wants to tank to try to get a first-pick quarterback or first-round quarterback, although I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft.
You think he's tanking to get his guy ready for – not tanking, but you think he's comfortable with having Peterman or Kaiser possibly be the quarterback that gets him into the draft so that when they go to Vegas, they have his guy in place?
Could be. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, he's just that evil. I don't understand why he doesn't like Derek Carr, but he doesn't. And there's been talk since he got hired that that's one of the things he was going to do. That was one of his goals, to get rid of Carr. So nobody's going to take him with that contract he has.
Well, he has a buyout after this year. His contract's actually pretty reasonable after this season.
Yeah, right. So, I think Gruden's whole plan is he wants to start over once they get in Vegas, because they're going to have a free ride for a couple of years, even if they suck. They're going to have a free ride.
Oh yeah, the honeymoon for sure.
Just with the newness of them being there. So he can tear the whole program apart and start it all over. And by the time the honeymoon starts to wear off in 3 years, he's going to have the people in place that he wants and still have 5 years left on his contract.
Yeah, and that's what I think it's going to be. It's going to be one of those things where he can just kind of do what he wants when he wants.
Right.
And no one's going to do it. No one's going to say anything about it because he's fucking John Gruden, right? He's the savior. So that'll be interesting for sure. Speaking of that, since we're already on the Raiders, we'll just go ahead and we'll just kind of look into what their season's going to be here in a nutshell. They're not going to be a bad team, but their schedule starts off rough.
Oh, it's brutal.
And I think they're going to end up being out of the playoff race before week 5, before their bye. They have a bye in week 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, week 6 is their bye week. They may be out of it by their bye week. They open up Monday night, the 9th, in versus Denver.
Right.
I think that they'll be fired up for that game, the final Monday night game, in Oakland before they leave. The fans are going to be nuts. I think they find a way to win that game. But then they're home for Kansas City, at Minnesota, at Indianapolis, or Chicago and London. That puts them at 2-3, in my opinion, before their bye week. They lose to Kansas City. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to be 3-2 because I had them penciled in as a loss at Indianapolis before Andrew Luck retired. So
I have them. I'm a lot more pessimistic. I have them losing to the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Vikings, and probably the Bears. So I have them at 1-4.
Huh. Okay. So you think they win at the Colts and that's it?
Yep.
I mean, that could be it. I mean, it's gonna be, but then they have their bye week, and then they're at Green Bay, at Houston, home for Detroit, home for the Chargers, home for the Bengals, at the Jets, at the Chiefs, home for the Titans, home for the Jags, at the Chargers, at Denver.
Okay, let me just I'll do it real quick here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oscar, I love you. You're a Raider fan, you're a diehard Dodger fan, but you're so realistic. Like you don't sugarcoat anything. Oscar says the Raiders will be 1-4 before the bye.
Yeah. I think they're gonna lose 12 games this year.
Really? 4-12?
Yeah.
See, I have them
5-11.
I have them at 6-10.
I can see that. There's a couple games that were like, I don't know, maybe, but I kind of gave the other team a benefit.
But if they switch to Peterman or someone else midway through the season, then that could easily be 4-12.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's gonna.
And the other thing that you have to watch out for is, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Is he gonna behave himself, or is he gonna be a jackass?
Yeah.
And if he's a jackass, then who knows what's going to happen to that team. I mean, he could go off on one of his diva rants and, end up alienating the whole team, and then you're even deeper. I mean, he's got to perform. He has to perform for that team. He has to have an Antonio Brown type of year for them to even have a chance of winning 6 games.
Yeah, I agree. How sorry do you feel for the Jacksonville Jaguars? And the reason why I say that is December 15th, the final game in Oakland. Like, football aside, they're walking into a firestorm. Those fans are going to be relentless unless something comes out at the end of the year. Let's say there's some crazy weather or something that delays the building of that stadium in Southern Nevada. Unless something big breaks, every expectation of the Raiders right now is they're going to be in Vegas next season. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if that stays the course and I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't go to that game. They may not make it out of that stadium, especially if the Raiders don't win that game. Like, it's going to be World War III in Oakland, and I don't blame them.
What was the last game last year?
It was Denver that they thought was going to be the final. The final game was Denver on Christmas Eve last year.
And what happened?
And Oakland won.
Did
they? Yeah.
They've already been through this once. So my question is, if they're competitive, and let's say going into that last game, they're I don't know, what is that, the last game of the season, or
no? That's week 15. They have 2 games after that.
Okay, so let's say that they're 8-6.
Okay,
going into that game, or 8-5. Or 7-5, or whatever it is, then I think that place is going to be crazy. If they're going into that game and they're 4-10, then do you think that it'll be a good riddance type thing?
No, I don't think it'll ever be a good riddance type thing. I think that team's going to be crazy. Damn, TJ.
Even if it's a shit show.
I don't think it'll matter. That Raider fan base, they've been through so many shit shows as it is. They're not worried about it. They're going to be loyal to that team in the final game. It's going to be somber. Look at the Kings. When we thought the Kings were leaving 3 fucking times, it didn't matter if it was a shit show or not. Every season was a shit show. And 2,500 to 5,000 fans did a sit-in in the last game, and they had to turn the lights off to get rid of us.
Right.
Raider fans are are better fans in that sense than Sacramento Kings fans are. So it's going to be crazy. TJ mentions the Miami Dolphins. He thinks they're going to go 1-15 or 0-16. They're getting rid of everybody, so I don't even think they're going to fill a team. Miami sent Kiko Alonso to the Saints.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yesterday or this morning. It comes one day after they traded left tackle Tunzel and receiver Kenny Stills, a 4th-round pick, a 6th-round pick to the Texans for a first-round.
Texans fucked up on that trade though too. So he should have signed a contract with Miami before he got traded, which is how most of the teams do it. They didn't do that. So now he's on a 1-year contract. So Jeremy Tunsil has all the leverage. He can get whatever he wants or go away next year. So Houston kind of fucked up on
now, that. Tunsil is the player that was rumored in the Jadeveon Clowney deals, and that was the one that the players said they're going to revolt if they traded him, right?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Raider fans will be going crazy in the final game no matter of the record. Yep, that's what I said, Oscar, for sure. Let's go through a couple more of these teams here. I'm just going to go through division by division. If there's a team that stands out to you and we want to talk about it, then we'll talk about it. Okay. Dallas, 10-6 is what I'm looking at here as far as predictions goes.
I haven't even looked at the schedules yet,
and that is all predicated on if they can get a deal done this weekend with Ezekiel Elliott or not.
I don't think they're going to.
Reports are that they're close. Their goal is this weekend. See if they can get a deal. Can Dak Prescott lead this team to a playoff berth? Because their season starts off easy-ish and ends brutal.
Right.
So they start off home for the Giants, at Washington, home for Miami, at the Saints, home for Green Bay, God, when the fuck is their bye week? Oh, they didn't even list their bye week on here. I'm like, what the? I'm like, okay, they don't have a bye. So they go through all the, then all their division games are pretty much done in the first half of the season, except for Washington and Philly at the end. But they end the season with, we'll just go November, like the middle of November. So the Thanksgiving Day at New England, home for Buffalo, at Chicago, home for the Rams, at Philly, home for Washington.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the end of their year is brutal. And without Ezekiel Elliott, they have nothing. They do not make the playoffs without Zeke. No. So Jerry's World could have a couple problems there.
Which is always fun. It's always fun watching the Raiders implode and watching the Cowboys implode.
I agree. Bold prediction here for the Giants. I think the Giants can go 6-10 this year as well. How long before we see Eli Manning sitting and what's his name? Already drawn a blank on the guy they drafted way too high.
Jones?
Yeah, Daniel Jones. How long before he's the starting quarterback of the New York Giants?
I bet you they give him 5 weeks.
You think he makes it 5?
Yeah.
So week 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a game against Minnesota. And then you throw him into the Wolves at week 6 at New England?
Oh, no.
Yeah, their schedule's not as brutal. I still think the Giants go 6-10. The Eagles, I think, win that division hands down, probably 11-5, 12-4. And then the Redskins with Haskins and all the other issues they have going on out there, a little bit better than the Giants, 7-9. NFC North, I think it's a no-brainer. Chicago is still gonna run away with that division. I could see them going 10-6, maybe 11-5. Detroit maybe 500. The Packers a little over 500 at 9-7, and then Minnesota maybe in the mix as well, depending on what quarterback shows up. If Kirk Cousins shows up, then I think Minnesota has a very good chance. If Kirk Cousins of last season shows up, Minnesota's dead in the water.
Yeah, I've always thought that Cousins is way overrated. He's never shown me anything that tells me he can lead a team to even a winning season, let alone a couple of playoff wins. So as much as I like Minnesota, and I think they have, a pretty good defense and a nice offense, he's going to have his career year this year for them to do anything.
I agree. Let's see who's next. NFC South. I think it's the Saints to win. I think the Saints are a tough team to not look at being hopefully in the Super Bowl this year from the NFC side. Retribution,
they were
will.
One call away from being there last year.
Yeah, retribution, if you will, for that call. It's going to be a crazy one. I think Atlanta has a good year, 10-6. Maybe they could be 11-5. They can easily be 9-7 though. Carolina, I'm not sure Cam Newton can pull this team out of the trenches. And then Tampa Bay is just going to be rough. Bruce Arians is coming back to a really, really shitty situation, coming back from coaching or coming back to coaching. So that's going to be crazy.
Well, I think the Panthers, it's all going to rest on if Newton can stay healthy. He hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple of years.
Right.
Last year he wasn't healthy with the shoulder. This year he's already got an ankle problem and hasn't been playing.
Right.
Or practicing. So it's going to be, how healthy he can stay. They have some talent. So they could give Atlanta and New Orleans a run.
They could, and Bruce Arians is a good coach of pulling quality out of those younger, out of those teams too.
Right.
That's what he did in Arizona all those years. He pulled a lot out of it.
And I think he's going to be good for Jameis Winston. I don't know if they have enough to go around Winston to make any kind of a run, but I can see them in a 3-year building period of being good if they can just give Arians the time he needs.
Right. Definitely see that happening. We'll get to the NFC West last since we have to talk about the 49ers. AFC East, do we even need to talk about it? We know who's winning that division. It's New England Patriots.
I don't think the rest of the teams in that division are going to win as many games as the Patriots are.
Combined?
Yeah.
So Buffalo, I think, goes 6-10, maybe 5-11.
New York Jets.
Well, and the thing is, though, I think Buffalo, even without LaShawn McCoy now, I honestly think Buffalo could even squeak into the playoffs. And it's crazy, but they have this really weird schedule. So Buffalo is going to be like that anomaly, right? They stuck in the playoffs a couple years ago, last year. See you later, Oscar. And, they have a chance. It's weird to me, but we'll go through their schedule real quick because I think they have a legitimate chance.
Okay.
They open the season at the Jets. They open, and then the next week they're at the Giants, so they don't even have to really leave the area, right? They stay in New York for 2 games in a row.
Right.
They're home for Cincinnati, home for New England, at Tennessee. So week 1 through 5, they travel once. They don't even leave New York.
No.
Until week 5, and they go just right down the coast.
First 4 weeks are basically home games.
Yeah. So they travel to Tennessee, which isn't very far. Then they have their bye week. Then they're home for Miami, home for Philadelphia, home for Washington. So they essentially, week 1 through 9, if you take their bye week out of it, in 8 weeks, they travel once. They only go to Tennessee.
But what happens at the end of the season?
It's not that much worse. They're at Cleveland, at Miami, home for Denver, at Dallas, home for Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, at New England, home for the Jets.
Not a lot of big trips.
Farthest they travel this entire season is Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, they can walk there. They don't have to fucking get on a plane. So if any team is going to benefit from ease of schedule, it's the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Okay.
In 9 weeks, they travel once. And like I said, it's to Tennessee. It's not like they're traveling to to London or
Right.
going and playing, the Rams.
Or going to Seattle or
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Live it up. And they got Frank Gore. Frank Gore's gonna have a great year, I think.
Their schedule. So
so I think they can maybe sneak in. And it comes down to injuries. If New England stays healthy, I mean, it's theirs.
oh yeah.
And that'll be crazy. But yeah, I just saw that with Buffalo. I'm like, dude, they don't travel ever. Maybe they can't afford a plane. And they just like the NFL like cut them a bone. They're like, all right, well, here you go. You don't got to go anywhere. AFC North, the Ravens, I think Lamar Jackson has a really good year. The Bengals, Andy Dalton, I don't know what you really can do with Andy Dalton. Like, it all rides on the feet of AJ Green. If his feet stay healthy, Dalton has a chance for a decent year. If AJ Green can't stay on the field, the Bengals win like 2 games this year, I think. I
think Cincinnati's going to be all about AJ Green.
Yeah.
So
the Steelers, they're always in the mix. Tomlin gets those guys playing. There's no doubt about it. Although they did cut Eli Rogers, which I thought was a little bit weird because I think he's a really good wide receiver. And he's a guy that Roethlisberger and him got along really well. I don't know why they would have released him. But my Cinderella story this year is gonna be the Cleveland Browns.
I don't think you're quite alone on that train.
No, but their schedule isn't all that bad either. I mean, they play the NFC West this year, so that's really the anomaly, right? They have the Rams at home. They're at San Francisco. They're home for Seattle, and they're at Arizona. So yeah, they're playing. They have a potential of playing some really tough games. Like in Los Angeles would suck, but they get the Rams at home. In Seattle, damn near impossible. They get the Seahawks at home.
Right.
The Niners have a potential of being a very good team this year. So they're in San Francisco. That's, I believe, the Niners' second home game. So it won't be as big of a frenzy. And then they're at Arizona, who's going to be a shit show. So the Browns easily could squeak out an 11-5, 12-3, 12-4, sorry, record if all the stars align. I think Baker Mayfield has a great year. They're going to be fun as hell to watch.
Yeah.
And then the South was Andrew Luck's to win. Obviously, him retiring. I don't know who comes out of the South. Is it Tennessee? Can you trust Marcus Mariota? Does Jacksonville do anything? I don't even remember who Jacksonville brought in as their quarterback.
The guy from Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right, Nick Foles. So that's gonna be. Does Nick Foles come out and match his playoff season, or does he come out as a regular season Nick Foles? That's gonna be a problem. And then the Texans. I mean, I love Deshaun Watson. I love DeAndre Hopkins, but can they pull it off? We don't know what they're gonna do. And in the West,
I mean, just for me, I think it's Houston's to win now.
It could be if Deshaun Watson stays healthy.
Yeah,
I think that's Houston's team to win or division to win.
Right.
And then the AFC West, it's going to come down to the Chiefs and Chargers again. Both teams are going to have really good years. I think Kansas City gets the edge a little bit, adding LaShawn McCoy and reuniting him with Andy Reid.
The thing I wonder about is it's obvious that Mahomes is not going to have the same season he did last year.
Unless you ask the guy in TJ's league who took him number 1 overall, says he's going to throw 60 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I don't see that happening because here's the thing. Just like any other thing that takes over the NFL for a year, offensive strategies or offensive anomalies or whatever you're going to say, you give a defensive coordinator a whole offseason to try to plan for something, they'll find a way to stop it.
Yeah, but the only thing that I counter argue with that is if Kansas City didn't have Andy Reid as their head coach, I would agree with you 100%. But Andy Reid has a really, really weird way and a knack for adjusting things on the fly and making his offenses prolific regardless. I mean, look what he got out of Alex Smith. Alex Smith, his whole career was a field general, right? He's a game manager. Everyone schemed for that. First year there, they opened their feathers up or open their wings up a little bit, and Alex Smith started to have a good year. At the end of the year, they started figuring him out. What do they do the next year? They come out with a whole new offense, and all of a sudden, Alex Smith looks like a gunslinger. He's out there throwing the ball everywhere. He's racking up yardage, and you're like, huh, okay, well, Andy Reid did it again. Like he polished Alex Smith out of a turd and made him enough for, Washington to throw $1 bajillion at him in a trade. Right. So if anybody is going to make lemonade out of a situation where the team is figuring out their offense, it's going to be Andy Reid and that Chiefs offense.
Right.
And then you add in LaShawn McCoy, they're going to be dynamic. And I think Shady needed a change of pace. He needed something new, but at the same time, he's getting something he's comfortable with. It's something that's nostalgic to him. He knows what he's going into. LaShawn McCoy goes anywhere else, I think you're looking at going, well, we're probably going to see Buffalo Bills LaShawn McCoy. Right. No one in their right mind ever thought you'd see Philadelphia Eagles LaShawn McCoy again. And now he goes to Andy Reid's offense, and you're like, well, yeah, he's older, but we may see that Philadelphia Eagles LaShawn McCoy again. So,
but here's the other part of Kansas City is, and the reason I said that, Mahomes is not going to have the same kind of season is, did they do anything? Did the Chiefs do anything to improve defensively?
I don't know, because
they gave up a shit ton of points. They lost one of their best pass rushers to the Niners.
Yep.
They couldn't stop anybody last year, and I don't know that they've done anything to improve themselves. And so, you're going to have at least the year that Mahomes had last year, if not better. I mean, it might take 60 touchdowns.
It might, yeah,
for them to outscore what the defense is going to give. So that's my concern about the Chiefs. It's going to be great for fantasy because they're going to score 40 points every game. But if they're giving up 45, it might be a different story.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Josh Zimmerman just said in the chat box. And he's a huge Chiefs fan, and he's right before you said that, he said they only added weapons to the offense.
Yeah.
So
and they lost weapons on defense.
Yeah, it's a Mike D'Antoni situation, right? Score as many points as you can, don't play defense, just hope you can outrun the guys.
Right.
It's gonna be that way. Yeah, losing Dee Ford, I think, was huge, even though Dee Ford ultimately cost them the Super Bowl last year. Or getting to the Super Bowl last year against New England on that offsides call that he had at the end of the game.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe he was a scapegoat and fans aren't that upset about losing him, but I'm glad the Niners grabbed him. I'm all for that, but yeah, they're gonna be must-see TV. Like if you have Sunday Ticket, or if you don't and you want to just catch whatever games on TV, you're gonna look for that Kansas City Chiefs game.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be hella exciting.
Yeah. And then the other thing too that we forgot to mention, we mentioned the Texans, right? Having it's their division to lose. They lost Lamar Miller to a torn ACL in the third preseason game. And that's when everyone wrote off the Texans. Like, oh, they're done. Well, then they go out and they trade for Duke Johnson Jr. and they just traded for Carlos Hyde as well. Right. So yeah, they lost Lamar Miller, who's a great running back, but at the same time, they added two pieces in that backfield. Changed defensive coordinators, got Clark from Seattle, got a couple more CBs, and a bunch of under the radar along the front line. And that's in regards to the Chiefs. So it'll be interesting to see if that defensive coordinator can bring it out of these guys.
Yeah.
The team that I don't like the offensive coordinators, the 49ers. The ship on Robert Saleh is sailing on me so quickly. And it's one of those things where it's like he was great in Seattle. He got the Legion of Boom, and I don't trust his schemes. The NFC West obviously is the Rams to lose, but I feel like this 49er team can spark things up a little bit. If Garoppolo can stay healthy and they can fully open up the Kyle Shanahan system, I think this Niners football team can be an exciting team to watch. They haven't done a lot in the preseason. Jimmy Garoppolo came out and said something that was extremely interesting to me that I never really heard before, but it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you saw his comments about the way he approaches preseason games and coverages. Did you see that?
No.
So Garoppolo was asked after the third preseason game when he played, the first quarter or whatever it was, first couple series. They asked him about some of the balls that he was throwing, some of the questionable passes. And Garoppolo says that he purposely throws into double and triple coverage in the preseason to see how his wide receivers are going to react to the ball. He wants to know, he uses the preseason as an opportunity to determine which one of his wide receivers are going to be aggressive and go for the ball, even in triple coverage, so that when games matter and he has to make a tough throw, he knows who he can rely on.
I almost believe that. To me, that sounds like, oh shit, I got to come up with something good. Hey, here's what I do. I throw into triple coverage on purpose.
So I did some research on that because that was my exact thought, was he's full of it.
Right.
You know who else says he's done that before?
Who, Brady?
Tom Brady.
Well.
And Tom Brady does it, and just like Garoppolo says, does it in practice as well. He'll purposely, on some of the lighter practice days when they're not going over game plans, so early in the week, he purposely throws shitty passes to his wide receivers, especially the younger guys that he doesn't have a rapport with yet, to see how they're going to react to the ball. And, I'm like, well, it makes a lot of sense, because if you're in crunch time and somebody cracks down on Kittle and cracks down on, Deebo Samuel or whoever it is out there, he needs to know if Dante Pettis or Jalen Hurd or Trent Taylor is going to put his ass on the line to get a pass. And
yeah, that's all well and good if you're Tom Brady and you can turn that switch on or off whenever you want. The problem is, I don't think Garoppolo has that history to be able to do that.
Well, and like I said, he's not going to throw into, he's never once said he's going to throw into coverage in a game. He's talking about what wide receivers can I rely on when the game matters? Who's going to be out there for me?
But if you're so used to throwing it, I don't know. I think that just goes against everything that I've ever. I see what he's saying. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like that. Yeah, that I don't know.
You also thought that Derek Carr was going to be a bust, so we'll see how that goes.
I was right about that.
No, you weren't.
Derek Carr is the bust.
Derek Carr is not a bust. We're going to have to argue that another day.
Okay, but he's not the savior. He's not the.
Oh, he's not the savior, no, but he's also not the bust that you
thought he was going to be.
Well, you swore he was going to be a bust. He's not.
He's closer to a bust than he is a all-pro.
You also said that he was going to be a bust the year that he was all-pro and in contention for the MVP before he broke his leg.
Whatever.
Or back or what, or both. I think he died twice. Let's see here. So, what do you think the Niners record potentially could be this season?
Let me pull it up.
I got it right here. I got it right here in front of me if you want me to just read it off. So
Okay.
they start the year at Tampa Bay,
Win.
at Cincinnati,
I'm going to say win.
home for Pittsburgh, home opener. They're retiring Terrell Owens number.
That's a loss.
Okay. Home bye week 4 bye week, by the way, which I think is fucking ridiculous.
Remind me to talk about bye weeks in a minute.
Okay. Home Monday night Cleveland.
I'm going to call that a loss.
Okay. At the Rams.
That's a loss.
At Washington.
That's a win.
Home for Carolina.
That's a win.
At Arizona.
That's a win.
Home for Seattle Monday night.
I'm going to give them the win there.
Home for Arizona.
Okay. Win.
Home for Green Bay on New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving night.
That's a loss.
At Baltimore.
It's a loss.
At New Orleans.
A loss.
At Atlanta. Or home for Atlanta.
That's a loss.
Home for the Rams.
Loss.
At Seattle.
Loss.
So you have them at 7-9 with no playoffs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, 7-9 could be 9-7 really easily.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you gave them multiple losses to the Seahawks, who I don't think are going to be that good this year.
No, I think they could win here and lose up there.
See, it's always the other way around, though, right? Don't they always flip it? Don't they always win in Seattle and always lose at home to Seattle?
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they could win it. I mean, a couple of those games I struggled with. I was just doing it quickly. So, you know, a couple of those wins are 9-7. I mean, I can see him in that 7, 8, 9 range of wins really easily.
Yeah, I mean, 9 wins could get him a playoff spot. You know, who knows? Yeah. So that's gonna be crazy. So, as you guys just heard, we aren't good at making predictions. We're probably gonna be wrong on most of those. With that being said, you have an opportunity to join us in being bad at pick'ems.
Or actually, you can have a chance of winning something because neither one of us ever win.
Yeah, exactly, right? We do a pick'em through CBS Sports every year, where we go in and pick winners and losers, no point spreads, no lines, no nothing, just winners and losers. We compete against each other every single week. This year, we're up to 11 people in the league. We'd like to get more. The link is.
We are already? I haven't looked at it yet. I don't think I've even in it yet.
Yeah, you are. You're back. There's unlimited time to join. We like to have everyone in before week 1. It's always a good time. Yeah, Josh, you're back. The link, like I said, the links are on our Facebook page, and we can definitely go ahead and get that going. It'll be a lot of fun. So, with that being said, Greg Veroza,
yes,
I don't have the audio board of Mr. Donald Trump reading off, or not Donald Trump, Frank Caliendo as Donald Trump reading off the picks, but let's go ahead and make our picks for week 1.
Oh man!
Oh yeah, you're on the spot.
You didn't tell me anything.
Here, I can go in and make picks for you since I'm the commissioner. You don't have to log into it. I can just click your picks for you.
Hold on, I can get it.
Actually, yeah, you should, because I need to be able to see my own picks. What the hell?
Isn't this great radio?
This is fantastic radio. So the other thing we mentioned earlier is Sports Talk 916 annual fantasy football draft party is today at Buffalo Wild Wings in Citrus Heights on Sunrise Boulevard, right past Greenback. If you're in the area, if you're bored, if you want some wings, if you want to see us make not so expert fantasy football draft picks, you're more than welcome. We'll be there at 4 p.m. today. I'll be there about 3:30 to set up early. Come out, say hello. If you want to hang out and have a beer with us and come out and play, it'll be cool.
Did Barnbaum ever get back to you? Is he coming?
Barnbaum, let me read you what Barnbaum said. Barnbaum said at 4 p.m., I might be able to go. Let me look into what I'm doing between the show and the event. I know I have a couple of things to take care of when the show is over. I just have to wait to see how long it will take.
What can he possibly have to do?
He probably has to print new like RT schedules and map out his road to every game of the season for the Hornets. And Barnbaum's a busy man. He is a busy man. So are you ready yet? Can we make our picks yet?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, Thursday night, Green Bay is at Chicago.
Green Bay.
I'm taking the Rams. They're not even playing the game. I'm taking the Bears. Oh, we're off to a great start. Baltimore travels to Miami.
Baltimore.
Got to take Baltimore there as well. Atlanta goes to Minnesota.
I'm going Atlanta.
I'm going
too many road games already.
I'm going Minnesota, taking the home team. Kansas City at Jacksonville.
Kansas City.
Washington's at Philly.
I'm going Philly.
Going Philly as well. Dilly, Philly. Tennessee at Cleveland. Buffalo at the New York Jets.
I'm going off the board on this one. I'm going off the board, and I'm picking
the Rams.
Your Le'Veon Bells.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jets as well. Rams at Panthers.
Rams.
Bengals at Sea Chickens.
I'm going for the Sea Chickens.
Same here. Colts at Chargers.
Chargers.
Gotta go with the Chargers. Detroit at Arizona.
Oh, man. Can I pick a tie?
Right. That'd be so great if you could predict ties.
I know, right? I'm going to go Detroit on this.
I'm gonna ride the coattails of Kyler Murray and see how he does this game. The New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. I wish we could make this pick after this weekend. I mean, and we can always go back and change it, but if Zeke, well, actually, it doesn't matter. I'm taking Dallas anyways. If Zeke plays, it changes my mind, but I'm taking Dallas anyways.
I'm going to pick the Giants, but if Zeke plays, I will change my mind.
All right, San Francisco's at Tampa Bay.
San Francisco.
Pittsburgh at New England.
New England.
Houston at New Orleans.
New Orleans.
And Denver at Oakland.
Denver.
Out of all those games, I have 4 road teams winning this week.
Oh, shit. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 road teams.
God. There you go. There's our football picks.
What road teams did you take?
I have the Niners, the Rams, the Chiefs, and the Ravens.
Because you weren't giving your picks half the times. You were taking mine, but not giving yours.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a home team stacked situation here.
So do you have Oakland beating Denver?
I do have Oakland beating Denver.
Oh.
I think they're going to win that final opening night at I'm pulling from the Kings. The Kings do it every time too. Every time they need to win a nostalgic game or an emotional game, they find a way to do it. It's gonna happen. And then kind of breaking news is something I've never done before, but I'm giving Jim Crandall credit.
Oh, your buddy.
My buddy. So if anyone follows the show, or Facebook, that I rip into Jim Crandall every time he posts anything because he just posts the most stupid clickbait bullshit all the time. He's my Del Rogers to Greg Verosa. But I agree with him this time. Every week he does his crybaby of the week.
Uh-huh.
He's given his crybaby of the week to every Colts fan who booed Andrew Luck leaving the field after his retirement. And I agree with that 100% wholeheartedly. That was ridiculous that they went out there and booed those guys the way that booed him the way that they did. God forbid someone makes a decision to protect his mental health and his life, and you're going to boo him on that.
And he's got a family on the way, so
Right.
Yeah.
Last thing, the Niners make a bold prediction here. By week 4, the Niners and Jerick McKinnon are going to come up with an injury settlement that's going to get them out of that contract. He's back on season-ending IR again, which is insane to me that it's going to be season-ending because he had the ACL surgery. He comes back, and now he had a setback is what they're calling it, yet he's going to be out for the entire year. Apparently, he needs another procedure to fix the setback, so he's going to be gone. The Niners are going to have to settle and get rid of him, get him off the books, because right now it's going to be gross. That's just a nasty situation for them.
Yeah, no, that's bad. Too bad too, because I thought he was healthy. He could have been somebody that would have contributed pretty well to the Niners. I really liked him.
I really like the addition though of Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman, I think, will fill that in.
Oh, yeah.
And then Breida is going to be a nice 1-2 punch there. So we'll see how that goes for sure. Again, football's back Thursday. Thursday is game 1. We have football for real this week.
Do we want to talk any NBA?
Is there any NBA to talk about?
Well, there's your boy.
I don't. We've beat that horse dead on Facebook. You did want to say something though about bye weeks.
Oh yeah. Have you looked at the number of bye weeks? I think it's in week 9.
The number of teams on bye weeks, you mean?
Yeah. So if you look at the NFL, bye weeks, come on. So week 4, there's 2 teams.
Right, the Niners, which is ridiculous to me that they start bye weeks that early.
Right, the Niners and the Jets. Week 5, the Lions and the Dolphins. Week 6, there's 4 teams.
Right.
Week 7, there's 4 teams.
Week 8, there's 2.
Week 8, there's 2. Week 9, there's 4. Week 10, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7,
6, 7 teams. And then 4. So why couldn't they have made it, 4 teams every week? Why do they have to have it with 7 in week 10?
Week 10 is 6 teams. We're both bad at counting, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Or just dump week 4 and 5 and put them on another. Like, why are you already taking a bye week 3 weeks into the season? Like,
right.
I mean, sure, the Jets probably are going to need a break by then, but the Niners, I mean, and it's not even because I'm a Niner fan. I'm not trying to be like overly biased by that, but that just doesn't make sense to me that a team needs a bye week that early in the year. And then, to me, that's like going to work. You work a 9-hour shift and they're like, oh, you started at 7. Okay, your lunch is at 8. You get an hour to work. You take your lunch break and then you're working the last 8 hours of the day without a break.
Right.
Like what? Okay. That doesn't make any sense to me. The NFL needs to fix that for sure.
Yeah. So that was just something I figured out the other day.
Yeah. That's crazy. I should probably look at that when it comes to drafting today, because God knows I'm going to pick everybody on week 9.
10.
Week 10. Well, 9 and 10.
Right.
I'll take nobody with a bye week 4, nobody with a bye week 6, and every one of my players will be week 9 and 10. And I'll have to hit like 44 waiver wire pickups or whatever. So,
or you just lose those 2 weeks and have your best team play everywhere else.
That's true. I could do that. Oh boy. Anyways, football's back. I'm super excited. Baseball's almost over, which makes me sad. There's playoff baseball in Sacramento this week, which I'm excited for.
Yep.
Should be a good week. Oh fuck! I'm gonna be at the baseball game during football. It's the fucking Packers and Bear Rams, so it doesn't matter to me. All right. Well, episode 289 is in the books. Unless you're looking on Facebook, then it says episode 286, which is weird. But for Greg Veroza, I'm Greg Bowl. Hopefully next week we'll get this fucking website figured out so we can get Greg on camera. And we'll make it all happen. But enjoy football. Enjoy your fantasy draft. If you're in the Citrus Heights area, please come out and see us today at 4:00. We'll be there. Yep. I'm debuting a new jersey today.
I'm excited to see this.
TJ's is going to be amazing as well. So we'll have to get a picture for the Facebook page.
I didn't know TJ had one coming out.
Oh, he has a special one. It's going to be awesome. Yes, I helped him find it online. It's going to be great.
Nice.
It's not. I mean, his Forrest Gump one was good. Today's is going to trump Forrest Gump.
Nice.
Yeah, and then my
is it a Niner jersey or is it somebody else?
Is it a what?
Is it a Niner jersey or somebody else?
No, it's somebody else. And then my Bobby Boucher will be trumped by my jersey today as well. So if you're interested,
I know what that one is, and I'm excited.
Yeah, so check it out on Facebook, Sports Talk 916. This will be up tomorrow on all podcast platforms. So if you're listening there, thank you very much. Send us a like, give us a review. We keep climbing. Whenever we do a show, we climb the iTunes chart. So if we can start getting reviews and things like that, more people start seeing it. So if you're on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Google Play, give us a 5-star, please. If you like the show, write a little review, get us boosted up a little bit so we can keep this going. And we will see you guys next week.
Good night.